What do you think about the latest development in the election for FIFA president? Some candidates already withdraw.
Good evening to everybody. First, I think that withdraw Tokyo Sexual, but because he knew that he has had no chance, so after a very nice speech, he has opened the door to other four. Now the vote is going on, and we will know if the first round will elect the president, but it's very difficult that there will be the election at the first round. We will see the second, and after the two contenders are in the race now, Sheikh Salman and Infantino. So I think that before 8 o'clock tonight we will know who will be the new FIFA president. The president for the new reform also, because it's very important to make reform and to change completely the image of FIFA.
Okay, Mr. Rowan, we understand that it's extremely important for people to have confidence in the election so that the one who is elected is going to be there to do his work. But if I could read to you some of the numbers we've got on hand, according to Transparency International, a survey was released recently in conjunction with Forza Football. They talk about people's confidence about this vote. They found 69% of participants don't have confidence in FIFA, with only 19% expressing trust in the organization. 60% say they would pick none of the 5 candidates at the time to run FIFA. You see the confidence level is low. And even some of the candidates coming from Asia, Prince Ali, was talking about withdrawal because he was complaining there's not transparency in terms of how the election was being arranged. Do you have confidence in this election? Do you think this election will really help FIFA to wash off at least some of its bad reputations as a result of corruption?
Yes, I think that's probably about right. It will wash out some of the bad taste that everyone's been getting from FIFA recently. All of the candidates are insiders of the football industry. So from the outside, of course, I think we have every right to be skeptical about how far these reforms can go. But this probably is the first step, and there is no other way around it than to move away from the old era and towards the new era. And that has to happen, I think, with the first president from inside, but someone who's got a very clear message from the world about what needs to be done.
Gianni, do you agree? Is this going to be a first step to help FIFA clear off its corruption label?
Must be the first step, because if they make only this step, nothing will change. But the most important thing is that must become also make a new campaign of a cultural revolution in the national federation, because till when you will not change also the mind of many people inside the national federation, the corruption will stay there. Is a long process, but I think that the new president has to clean completely the house, even in the national federation, to help the national federation to change their people sometimes, because the corruption is not only on the top, sometimes it's also in the bottom.
Which one is more crucial? Is that the reform plan, or is that the new president that's likely to lead this organization to a new and brighter future in terms of corruption? Gianni.
I think that the most crucial is that the president must implement the reform, because if he doesn't implement the reform, nothing will change. And so we will go back in the old system. I think that the reform can be also make better in the years, but immediately he has to change many things and to give a signal to all the national federation that also they have to change something inside them. If not, it's completely unuseful anything, any effort.
But Roman, it is not easy. This new president has to have the power to command. He has to have a very strong strength in terms of be able to persuade the national associations to do the same. But what would that mean for the possible candidate who is likely to win the title? We got a game going on right now. Asia versus Europe. It's already quite a clear picture. So which side do you think might have a bigger power in persuading all of the national associations and really changing the FIFA culture, not continue it in terms of corruption?
I mean, that's the $6 million question.
Well, probably even bigger than that.
To see right now. Yes, it's come down to an Asian candidate and to a European candidate. I think when we say Asia, that is such a huge and diverse footballing region.
Yes, indeed.
I think it's very hard to think that there is one voice coming from there. But between the two of them, whichever that is, the job is the same. I mean, it is a fundamental root and branch renewal for FIFA from the beginning. There is nobody, I think, who's sacred there, and everything is up for change.
If Europe, Asia is not necessarily going to be the deciding factor in terms of how to clear up the corruption, what about the fairness in terms of the football business and the football associations around the world? Gianni, we understand the previous president of FIFA, Mr. Blatter, even if he's corruptive, however, he done something, which is to bring more developing countries and regions that are not doing well in soccer onto the picture. He and others were supporting some of the countries to even host the World Cup, which of course very debatable. What do you think? Which one should we have in order to make soccer more popular all over the world, not just concentrating inside Europe?
But I think that first of all they have to make a teamwork, because it's not sufficient a man to change completely the situation. If you have not a big force, a big team that is for transparency and for a new eve for the football, you will not change anything, because Blatter was strong. But don't forget that if you don't change also the Continental Association, their mind, you will never change anything, because the Continental Association till yesterday they were completely independent by FIFA, and FIFA couldn't control their budget. So the system that was put in place was perfect for corruption. Now the problem is to put in place a system that is not perfect for corruption, and all these people has to work together, because after the fight of today, after they have to begin to work together to create a new system. Because you know there is in the game now there is not only their life, but there is a huge number of millions of young people that are believing in football as for a better life, because through football they change their life.
Right.
And how many people are working for sport around the world? Millions.
And
so if sport fall down,
okay,
sorry, if
and therefore
sport fall down,
and therefore, Gianni,
millions of people will lose their job.
Right, and therefore, Gianni, the question is, which one of the candidates might have a bigger power than the others in terms of being able to persuade Continental Association, National Association, and of course FIFA itself to reform? That is the question. So from your perspective, covering the election and many years covering FIFA, which one might be the best choice? Why?
But you know, it's very difficult to tell now, because nobody of them has had the experience, because Blatter was so strong, because he has worked for many years inside, before as Secretary General and after as President. Now there are two newcomers that have the different experience in different continental associations. I think that from the point of view of administration, Infantino may have the better vision, maybe because he is used to working inside the top confederation. The different is for Sheikh Salman that he has found a solution for Asia, and we have now to see if he has the power to change also the world. You know, we can judge them only after a while. It's impossible to say before.
Robin, therefore, here comes the thing. We cannot judge them at the moment. because we don't know how they're likely to work and how they're likely to command their power. And we cannot even judge where FIFA is going because the investigations are still going on about some of the very important, even criminal cases against the FIFA authorities and officials. So at this moment, what kind of FIFA are we really looking at? How much hope there is for FIFA, particularly in the next few years?
Well, it's going to be a very long process, and
Yeah.
this is the first step again. So I think whoever wins the presidency takes on a massive, massive job, and no longer will he be doing that job away from the public eye. He's going to be doing it from the start, under the full glare of the media and the millions of people who love football that Gianni talks about. So this is a very, very tough job, and it does involve all the national associations in particular and those federations. It's not an easy thing. So I think we can't judge now. We can hope that, given how transparent the problems have become, everyone should be very clear about what needs to happen. And so at least the direction must be clear, and the president has to lead that.
And how about the question I asked Gianni earlier, that is whether FIFA and the sports of soccer itself is going to be more inclusive or actually more exclusive after this election, because it used to be pretty much a European sport, even though it's popular all over the world, but the European figures seem to dominate this specific body and how the business is being run, including the clubs as well. So what about this election? Is this going to be a sign for us as where is it going in terms of world sports?
I'm not sure if that's entirely true, because actually, Europe, although it dominates in many aspects of the game, it doesn't in FIFA. That's one of the positive things. But Europe has a huge role to play. It may be that Infantino produces the best result while knowing he has to open up, but it is votes that count in the end. So the European bloc, I think, is less important than a fundamental reform of everything that FIFA is meant to stand for. It really is got that bad, and we need to go back to that basic a change.
It is really bad, shall we put it just using your word?
Yeah, it can't get any worse, so it can only get better.
Gianni, if there is going to be a new president of FIFA, first step, do you think this gentleman will have to take? What is it should be about?
First of all, he has to fix a very good team that work with him, because it's impossible. It's not only one-man job, and if he is able to select a very good team with many people of high level and that are proven honest people, I think that the work will be easier. Because we cannot believe that only one man can change anything, especially now, especially because everybody has spoken about the corruption inside FIFA. But there is also the other corruption, that the corruption inside FIFA has helped, that is the match fixing, that is the corruption that comes from outside in the sport, that is destroying the sport. So I think that the new president has to be very fast in finding the team, and with many other people helping him to face all the problems that are rising now.
All right.